Edward has a handsome face and a pair of scissors. Scissorhands can't help Edward pick up the knives and forks on the table, but they can trim beautiful plants. Today we recommend a movie full of fantasy and romance. Edward Scissorhands, in a lush old castle, leaves an aging inventor and his masterpiece. Edward, a robot with scissors hands. Under the patience of the inventor, Edward learned human manners, poetry, and when to smile and when to be silent. However, the inventor's sudden death left Edward alone in a castle full of mystery and fantasy, until one day, a cosmetic salesman named Peg stumbled into the castle. The beautiful plants in the courtyard made Peg want to meet the owner of the house. On the second floor of the castle, Peg met Edward, the owner of the castle. Peg was not intimidated by Edward's scissors. Instead, he took pity on his loneliness and decided to take him home. And so, Edward entered a colorful but worldly town. Edward quickly wins the hearts of the people with his scissor skills and gentle nature. Edward becomes the star of the town by trimming plants and designing hairstyles for the residents. At the same time, Edward suffers from the pain of not being able to integrate into the human world. During this amazing journey, Edward and Peg's daughter, Kim, fall in love. Edward is deeply touched by Kim's beauty, kindness, and sincerity. However, Kim's boyfriend, Jim, becomes jealous of Edward's talent and popularity and begins to set him up. Jim devises a plan for Kim to ask Edward to help her infiltrate Jim's father's mansion. Knowing that Edward's scissor hands can easily open any lock, Jim intentionally leaves the door open for Edward to enter the mansion. Out of trust and love for Kim, Edward decides to help her. Edward sneaks into the mansion. However, unfortunately, he triggers the alarm device inside the mansion, attracting the police. Faced with the police's pursuit, Edward chose not to reveal the truth, fearing that his true identity and his relationship with Kim would be exposed, which would bring her trouble. As Edward was incapable of determining right from wrong, he was released by the police shortly afterward. This misunderstanding leads to Edward being misunderstood by the townspeople, who demand the expulsion of this seemingly dangerous robot. Unable to embrace love, Edward leaves his eternal mark on Kim in an ice sculpture, and then chose to flee back to the old castle and hide in that unknown corner of the world to continue pruning his plants. Ice and love. Edward Scissorhands explores the collision of good and evil, innocence and worldliness in human nature from its unique perspective. Edward, the robot with scissor hands, becomes the embodiment of innocence and goodness. He struggles in the eyes of the world, but always stays true to his heart. Each character in the movie presents us with a world full of real meaning. Peg's kindness and tolerance, Kim's beauty and sincerity, Jim's jealousy and hypocrisy. All of them show us the many sides of human nature. Edward, on the other hand, has become the eternal symbol of innocence and goodness in our hearts. In this colorful but full of secular vision of the world, we should learn to understand and tolerate the existence of those who are different. As Edward said, "I just want to help others." Let's treat every life with kindness and sincerity to make this world a better place.